The sky over Varelia was a strange mix of deep purple and burning orange, a result of the fires that consumed the city. Smoke curled high into the air, carrying the sharp scent of metal and charred stone. Once a thriving alien capital, the city now looked like a battlefield from the oldest human wars, only larger, more advanced, and terrifying in its technology. Amid the chaos, Kale Ryder, a human mercenary, crouched behind the remains of a shattered building. His armor was scratched and dented, and his boots were coated in dust and ash. But Kale had seen worse. He was a soldier trained for the impossible, for places where most humans would not dare to set foot. And yet, nothing had prepared him for this. He peered around the corner. Laser fire cut through the smoke, hitting walls and vehicles, creating clouds of debris. Alien soldiers moved with precision. Their weapons advanced beyond anything Kale had used on Earth. He could have retreated, as most humans would have, but he didn't. There was someone here who needed help. Someone important. Kale had been hired to protect the royal family of Varelia, the last hope of this war-torn planet. But when he reached the palace, he found it under attack. And now, the princess, the young and courageous Ilara, lay injured, her life hanging by a thread. He sprinted through the debris, ducking under falling beams and dodging laser shots. His military training kept him alive, but the chaos of the city made every step a gamble. Around him, Varelian soldiers were falling, their bodies limp in the dust. Kale knew he couldn't wait for help. If he didn't reach her, she would die. Finally, he reached the inner courtyard of the palace. There, amidst the wreckage of what had once been beautiful gardens and statues, he saw her. Princess Ilara was on the ground, her silvery blue skin marred by burns and cuts. Her breathing was shallow, almost imperceptible. Kale's heart tightened, though he didn't show it. "Stay with me," he whispered, sliding down beside her. "I've got you." He scanned the area. Enemy soldiers were closing in, their weapons humming with energy. Kyle's hands moved, fast, taking out two of them before they could even fire. Each movement was precise, controlled, like a deadly dance he had practiced for years. But he couldn't fight them all. Not while she was dying. Kale looked at her wounds. Traditional medicine would not work. Varelian biology was delicate, and she had lost too much blood. He had heard of extreme measures before, but nothing like this. Then it struck him. He could try something humans had never dared. Human blood. He hesitated. Human blood had never been given to a Varelian. It was said to be incompatible, possibly deadly. But Kale Ryder did not hesitate long. He would not let her die. He drew a small blade from his belt, cutting a shallow line across his arm. Blood welled up immediately, deep red against his pale skin. He moved closer to her, letting a few drops fall onto her wounds. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, Ilara's breathing stabilized. Her color, pale before, shifted slightly as if the human blood was giving her strength. Kyle watched in disbelief. Could this be real? Could human blood actually heal a Virelian? Suddenly, a sharp explosion nearby sent him rolling to the side. Debris rained down, and for a moment Kale feared he had miscalculated. But when he looked again at the princess, she was breathing steadily, not fully healed but alive. Kale's relief was brief. They were not safe yet. Enemy soldiers were still closing in, and the palace was crumbling around them. He lifted Ilara carefully into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, but still fragile. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing the soft glow of life returning to them. "Kyle," she whispered weakly. What did you do?" "I saved you," he said simply, scanning the ruins. "Come on. We have to get out of here." Moving through the chaos was nearly impossible. The ground shook with explosions and fires spread quickly, threatening to trap them. Kale's instincts kept him ahead of danger. He ducked under falling metal, slid past burning rubble, and even neutralized a few enemies along the way. Each action was precise, human ingenuity meeting alien technology. Finally, they reached a hidden passage, one of the few escape routes. Kale had discovered during the initial reconnaissance. He laid Ilara down gently. She looked at him, curiosity mixed with gratitude. "You risked your life. For me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kale shrugged, trying to hide, the worry etched on his face. "I don't leave people behind, doesn't matter who they are." Ilara's gaze softened. Humans are different, stronger, braver than I imagined." He smiled faintly, but there was no time to linger. The passage led them deeper, into the palace ruins, away from the open battlefield. Kyle knew they could not stay there long. Soon they would need allies, and fast. As they moved, Kale noticed a strange phenomenon. Ilara's eyes glowed faintly, a soft light pulsing with each breath. He felt something unusual, a connection, almost like he could sense her thoughts. Her pain, even her fear. It was subtle but undeniable. "What's happening to you?" he asked. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I feel different, stronger, but also connected to you." Kale frowned. He had never seen anything like this. Could the human blood have done more than just heal her? Could it have created something else? Something beyond medicine, beyond science? Their thoughts were interrupted by distant explosions. The city was not done with them yet. Kyle took her hand gently, reassuring her. "We'll figure it out. But first, we survived tonight." Hours passed as they navigated through the ruined palace. Kyle's experience as a soldier saved them multiple times, and Ilara, though weak, tried to keep pace. Each step revealed more of the destruction, the magnitude of the war, the desperation of the Varelian people. Kyle realized that saving the princess was not just about one life. It was about the future of a civilization. By dawn, they reached a safer area, an underground chamber that had once served as a storage vault. Kyle helped Ilara sit down, checking her wounds again. She was stable for now, though she still needed care. "Rest," Kyle said firmly. "We'll need your strength. Soon, I promise." Ilara nodded, leaning against the wall, her breathing even. Kale watched her, feeling something he rarely allowed himself. Hope. Against all odds, they had survived. Against all logic, the human blood had worked. And against all expectation, something incredible had begun. Kale knew one thing for certain. The war was far from over, but humans had just shown the galaxy a power it had never seen before. And somehow, against all odds, he had become a part of it. As he sat beside her, keeping watch, Kale couldn't help but wonder, what had he really unleashed by giving his blood to a dying alien princess? What lay ahead was beyond imagination. The underground chamber was quiet, except for the faint hum of the city above. Kale Ryder sat cross-legged on the cold floor, keeping watch over Princess Ilara. Her chest rose and fell steadily, a sign that the human blood had done its work, at least for now. But Kale knew better than to think the danger had passed. The enemy forces that had attacked the palace would not stop easily. Ilara's eyes fluttered open, and she sat up slowly. Kale offered her a small nod, his face calm but alert. "You're awake," he said. "Good. You need rest, but at least you're alive." I feel strange," Ilara admitted, her voice soft but urgent. She moved her hand over her arm, the glow of the healing still faintly visible. "Kyle, something is happening. I can feel it inside me." Kyle frowned. He had noticed it too. The glow in her eyes, the subtle pulse of energy that seemed to connect them. "It's the blood," he said cautiously. "Human blood. It healed you. But it's doing more than that." Ilara's gaze met his, a mixture of fear and awe. "More?" "Yes," Kyle said simply. "Something beyond healing. I don't know exactly what, but it's powerful. Stronger than anything I've seen." For the next few hours, Kale observed her closely. As he watched, Ilara's wounds fully closed, the scars of battle disappearing faster than any normal healing process. Her skin seemed to shimmer faintly, almost as if it were absorbing light. Kale's curiosity grew, but he also felt a sense of caution. Human blood had never been tested on Varelians. It was dangerous, yet somehow it had created this miracle. Finally, Kyle broke the silence. "Can you move?" he asked. Ilara slowly stood, testing her strength. She felt light, almost weightless, and her steps were steady, even graceful. I can," she said, astonished. "It's like I've been given new life." Kale nodded. "And that's just the start. We need to understand what this means before anyone else finds out. If the wrong people see this, it could be dangerous." Ilara looked at him, curiosity replacing her fear. "What do you mean?" Kale explained. "Your abilities, they're not normal. You've been connected to me in a way that science on your planet can't explain. Some might see it as a weapon. Some might see it as a miracle. Either way, we need to be careful." Ilara considered this, her eyes glowing faintly as she processed his words. Then she touched her forehead. "I can feel you. Not just with my mind, but like your thoughts are mine, and I can sense things around me. Dangers, movements, even intentions." Kale's brow furrowed. "So it's not just healing. The blood, it linked us somehow." "Yes," she whispered. "And I think it's making me stronger, faster, smarter. Like my body knows things it didn't before." Kyle looked at her, a mix of amazement and concern. "Then we have to be careful. This is powerful, but untested. We don't know what it can do or what it might cost you." Ilara took a deep breath, her glow dimming slightly as she tried to calm herself. "I don't care about the cost. You saved my life. I won't waste it." Kyle gave her a small, approving nod. He had faced countless dangers in his life, but something about this felt bigger than any battle he had fought. The human blood had done more than heal. It had created a bond between them, one that could change the fate of Virelia. As they spoke, Kyle realized something else. The bond wasn't one-sided. He could feel her emotions, her thoughts, and even her memories in flashes. It was subtle but undeniable. It was like a connection that went beyond words. "We'll need allies," Kale said after a pause. "Someone you trust. Someone who can help us understand this." Ilara nodded. "There's someone. My royal advisor. Kale, he's smart, loyal, and he's survived worse wars than this one. If anyone can help us." Kyle agreed. They decided to wait until nightfall and then make their way to the advisor's hidden chamber. Time was critical. The enemy would not stop, and rumors of Ilara's miraculous recovery could spread fast. As darkness fell, Kale led Ilara through the underground tunnels beneath the city. The air was damp, the walls cracked, but it was safe, at least for now. Along the way, Kale trained her in basic defense. She was learning quickly, faster than any human or Varelian should have. Her senses were sharper, her reflexes quicker, and her confidence grew with every step. By midnight, they reached the royal advisor, Varen, an older Varelian with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor. He looked at Ilara with concern and disbelief. "Princess, you were dying," Varen said. How are you standing?" Kyle explained briefly what had happened, careful to leave out details that could be misinterpreted. "It was human blood," he said. "It saved her." Varen's eyes widened. "Human blood? Impossible. That should have killed her." "I know," Kyle said. "But somehow it didn't. And there's more. She's changed. Stronger. Connected to me." The advisor studied them both silently. Then he nodded slowly. "If this is true, then something extraordinary has occurred. Not just a miracle, but a potential turning point for our people." Ilara stepped forward. "I can feel it, Varen. I can sense Kyle, and I can sense dangers, even things I shouldn't know. It's like the blood. It gave me more than life, it gave me abilities." Varen frowned thoughtfully. Abilities beyond normal Varelian limits? Yes, Kyle said. And we need to understand them before the wrong people exploit them. The advisor agreed. Then we must be cautious. If word spreads, both of you could be hunted and or worse. This gift, if it is a gift, could become a curse. Ilara looked at Kyle, determination in her eyes. I don't care. I won't let them use me as a weapon. I'll use this to protect my people and him. Kyle felt a surge of pride. Good. That's what we'll do. But first we need rest. And then, training. If your abilities are real, you'll need to control them. Over the next few days, Kale and Ilara worked together to understand the strange effects of the human blood. Ilara's healing accelerated. Small cuts disappeared almost instantly. Her strength increased and she could move with unmatched agility. She even discovered she could sense Kale's emotions without him speaking, a bond deeper than anyone could have imagined. At night they would speak quietly, sharing thoughts in ways that no one else could understand. The bond was intimate, but not romantic. It was trust, understanding, and something almost sacred. Kyle realized that this connection was more than life-saving. It was a bridge between human and Varelian, a potential key to uniting their species. But not everyone welcomed this development. Rumors began to spread across the city. Whispers of the human who healed the princess, of powers beyond comprehension, reached the ears of rival factions. Some saw it as a miracle, others as a threat. Kale knew it was only a matter of time before someone came for them. Then, one evening, a scout arrived at the hidden chamber, breathless and terrified. Princess, Kale, they know. The enemy. They are coming. Kale's jaw tightened. He had expected this. Then we prepare, he said. Ilara, can you feel them coming? She closed her eyes, concentrating. A faint glow appeared around her, pulsing with energy. Yes, she whispered. They're close. And there's something else. Something stronger than before. I don't know what it is, but it's coming for us. Kale nodded. Then we fight. And this time we won't just survive. We'll show them what humans and Varelians together can do. The princess, once weak and dying, now stood beside him, her body alive with strength, her mind connected to his, her spirit unbreakable. Kale realized that the gift of human blood had done more than save a life. It had awakened a new power, a bond that could change the fate of their world. The sound of the approaching army echoed through the underground tunnels, a deep rumble that made the walls vibrate. Kyle Ryder tightened his grip on his weapon, his eyes scanning the dark corridors. Beside him, Princess Ilara stood tall, her body glowing faintly with a light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. I can feel them, she whispered. Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed a mixture of fear and determination. They are strong, stronger than any soldiers we've faced before, but I can sense their movements, even their intentions. Kyle nodded. Good. Stay close, to me, and use that power. We'll need every advantage we have. The first group of enemy scouts entered the tunnels, unaware of the trap waiting for them. Kale moved like a shadow, taking out two of them with precise strikes before they could fire. Ilara followed, her newfound agility allowing her to dodge and counter attacks effortlessly. Each move she made was faster, more precise than any human or Varelian soldier Kale had ever seen. Keep moving, Kale shouted. We can't let them surround us. Ilara's eyes glowed brighter as she focused. She could sense every soldier in the tunnel, every weapon they carried, every footstep. It was as if the human blood had given her not only strength, but an awareness beyond sight and hearing. She moved like a phantom, striking enemies before they even realized she was there. Kyle fought alongside her, amazed by her abilities. But he also felt something else, a mental connection that went beyond mere awareness. He could feel her thoughts, her fears, and her determination as if they were his own. It was disorienting at first, but it gave him an edge he had never experienced before. They pushed forward through the tunnels, eliminating enemies with precision and efficiency. The deeper they went, the more Kale realized the true potential of their bond. Ilara's senses were not only heightened, they were interconnected with his own, allowing them to anticipate each other's actions without speaking. It was as if they were a single entity, a human and a Varelian moving in perfect harmony. After clearing the tunnels, they reached a larger chamber, the underground hall where the enemy planned to regroup. Kyle glanced at Alara. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded, her body glowing even more brightly. "Let's end this." As they entered the hall, the enemy forces froze, startled by the sight of the princess standing tall and unafraid, beside a human warrior. Kale and Alara moved as one, a storm of precision and power. She struck with unbelievable speed, disarming soldiers before they could attack. Kale covered her, eliminating threats with deadly efficiency. For the first time in the battle, Kale saw the enemy hesitate. They had faced humans before and they had faced Varelians, but never together. Never like this. The combination of human strategy and Alara's new powers was unpredictable and terrifying. Amid the chaos, Alara felt a surge of energy she had never experienced before. It started in her chest and spread to her limbs, her senses sharpening, to a point where she could perceive the world in fractions of seconds. She could feel the flow of energy in the hall, the tension in each soldier's muscles, even the subtle vibrations in the floor that indicated movement. This is incredible," she whispered to Kale, who was focused on the enemy. "I can see everything, anticipate everything." Kale grinned even as he fought. "Good. Then use it. Don't hold back." Alara did not hold back. With a wave of her hand, she created a force that knocked soldiers off balance, sending them sprawling. Kyle followed, taking advantage of the chaos to disable the remaining enemies. Together, they cleared the chamber faster than Kale had thought possible. After the battle, they took a moment to catch their breath. Alara's glow dimmed slightly, but her aura of strength remained. "Kale, I've never felt like this before. The blood, it's changed me. I can control it now, I think. And I can feel you. Always." Kale studied her, amazed. "You're stronger than I ever imagined. But we have to be careful. If this bond grows too strong, others might notice, and some will want to use it against us." Alara nodded. "I know, but I feel unstoppable, like I can protect my people. And you, too." Kyle smiled faintly. "Then let's make sure we do exactly that." The bond between them was more than just physical or mental. It was emotional, intuitive, and almost spiritual. Kale realized that human blood had done more than save a life. It had created a link that allowed them to function as a single unit, combining strategy, skill, and instinct in ways neither species had ever experienced. Word of Alara's survival and newfound abilities spread quickly through Varelia. Citizens whispered of the princess who had returned from the brink of death, stronger than before, and the human warrior who had given his blood to save her. Some called it a miracle, others a warning. Kyle knew the truth was somewhere in between. It was human courage, alien resilience, and something entirely new born from their bond. Meanwhile, in secret chambers across the city, Varelian scientists and military leaders debated the meaning of Alara's transformation. "It's impossible," one said. "Human blood should not have done this." "Perhaps it didn't just heal her," another countered. "Perhaps it triggered something latent, a potential we never imagined." Kale and Alara, unaware of these debates, continued to train and prepare. Each day, Alara's abilities grew. She could sense danger before it appeared, heal minor wounds almost instantly, and anticipate enemy movements. Her bond with Kale deepened, allowing them to coordinate attacks without words, their actions perfectly synchronized. But with power came responsibility. Kale reminded her constantly that this bond was a gift, but also a target. If the enemy discovered it, they would come not just to kill, but to study and exploit it. They needed a plan, allies, and the wisdom to use this power wisely. One evening, as they rested in a safe house beneath the city, Alara spoke quietly. "Kyle, do you think I'm still me? Or am I something else now?" Kale took her hand gently. "You're still you, Stronger, yes. Different, yes. But this bond, this power, it doesn't change who you are inside. It just lets the world see how strong you really can be. Alara smiled faintly. I hope you're right. I don't want to lose myself in this power. You won't, Kyle assured her. I'll make sure of it. Together we'll figure this out. The following days were spent strengthening the bond between them. Kale taught Alara human tactics, strategies that emphasized thinking beyond instinct. Alara taught Kale how to harness the bond, to sense enemies and allies alike. They became a team unlike any the galaxy had seen. Human ingenuity paired with alien instinct, both enhanced by a connection that defied biology. Then the inevitable happened. Scouts from the rival faction discovered their location. This time, they came in force. Hundreds of soldiers moving through the tunnels, confident that they could overwhelm the human and the princess. Kyle and Alara prepared. Stay close, Kyle said, checking his weapon. Remember everything we've practiced. Alara's eyes glowed. I feel them. I can sense every movement. This time, and I won't hold back. As the enemy surged into the chamber, Kyle and Alara moved as one. Their combined power was overwhelming. Soldiers fell before they even realized what had struck them. Alara's agility, strength, and precognition were enhanced by Kale's tactics and precision. They were unstoppable, a force that seemed beyond imagination. By the end of the battle, the surviving enemy forces fled, leaving Kale and Alara standing victorious. They were exhausted, but stronger than ever. The bond between them had not only saved their lives, it had given them a glimpse of what they could accomplish together. Kale looked at Alara, a mixture of pride and awe in his eyes. This is just the beginning. We've survived, yes. But the real battle is still ahead. Alara nodded, her glowing eyes reflecting determination. I know. And I'll fight. Not just for myself, or for you, but for everyone who can't fight for themselves. Kale smiled faintly. Then let's make sure we do it right. Together. As they looked out over the ruins of the city from their hidden chamber, Kyle realized something profound. The human blood that had saved Alara had done more than heal. A life. It had awakened a power beyond imagination, a bond that could change the course of war, the fate of Viralia, and perhaps the future of humanity itself. The dawn broke over the shattered city of Viralia, painting the ruins in shades of red and gold. Smoke still drifted from collapsed buildings, and the distant hum of machinery reminded Kale Ryder that the war was far from over. He and Princess Alara had survived countless battles, but the enemy had grown clever, and now they knew exactly what they were facing: a human warrior and a princess with powers beyond imagination. Kale stood on a broken balcony scanning the horizon. His armor bore the scars of battle, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Alara stood beside him, her glowing presence a reassuring constant. The bond between them had deepened over days of training, fighting, and survival. They could almost anticipate each other's movements without words, a connection that had saved them more than once. They're coming, Alara said, her voice calm but firm. Her eyes glowed brighter than usual as she extended her senses outward. A large force, stronger than before. They've brought machines this time, weapons I've never felt before. They want to destroy us. Kyle nodded. Then we fight. But first we need a plan. We can't just survive, we need to win. The princess studied him, determination flashing in her eyes. I feel ready. The bond, it's stronger than ever. I know we can stop them. Kale allowed himself a small smile. That's the spirit. But remember, the enemy won't just come at us blindly. They'll adapt, learn, and try to use our bond against us. We need to stay one step ahead. By mid-morning, scouts confirmed what Alara had sensed. The rival alien empire had mobilized a massive force, hundreds of soldiers, flying war machines, and siege equipment designed to crush any defense. Kale and Alara gathered their allies, Varelian warriors who had survived the initial attacks and trusted Kale's leadership. Together, they prepared to defend the city. Knowing that failure was not an option, Kale addressed the group. Listen carefully. We're not just defending a city, we're defending the future of Varelia. The enemy thinks they can overwhelm us with numbers and machines, but we have something they don't. Coordination, strategy, and a bond that they can't understand. Stick to the plan, trust each other, and we survive. Ilara stepped forward. Her eyes glowed with power, and a soft hum of energy filled the air. I'll guide you. I can sense their movements, their weaknesses. Trust me, and we'll turn this battle around. The first wave of the enemy arrived at the city outskirts. Flying machines hovered above, launching energy blasts that shook the ground. Soldiers charged forward with weapons designed to cut through armor like paper. Kyle and his team moved with precision, taking advantage of every structural ruin and hiding spot to strike with lethal efficiency. Ilara's abilities shone like never before. She moved faster than the eye could follow, anticipating attacks and countering them effortlessly. Her energy pulsed, creating waves that knocked enemies off balance, disarmed them, or even threw them from their positions. She could sense danger before it arrived and respond with perfect timing, each movement guided by the human blood that had awakened her. Kyle fought beside her, amazed by the synergy between them. Their bond allowed them to act as one. When Kale spotted a sniper on a distant rooftop, Ilara anticipated the threat instantly and moved to neutralize it before it could harm anyone. When Ilara faced a squad of soldiers, Kale positioned himself to cover her, disabling attackers with precision. Hours passed as the battle raged. The city shook under the weight of explosions, collapsing buildings, and the relentless advance of the enemy. But Kale and Ilara's leadership and bond kept their team focused and coordinated. Slowly, the tide began to turn. The enemy was not expecting a human and a Varelian princess working together with such perfect coordination. Their attacks became disorganized, their machines less effective, and their soldiers increasingly demoralized. Amid the chaos, Kale noticed something extraordinary. Ilara was not just reacting, she was adapting. Each wave of attacks taught her something new. Her strength, speed, and precision increased with every encounter. She was evolving faster than Kale had imagined, her body and mind adapting to the battlefield in real time. This is incredible, Kale muttered under his breath, dodging a falling beam. The human blood didn't just save her, it's unlocking something beyond imagination. Ilara caught his words, smiling faintly even amidst the fight. And we'll use it to protect everyone, she said, her voice steady. By midday, the enemy had regrouped for a massive assault. Flying war machines hovered above the city, unleashing energy blasts that tore through streets and buildings. Soldiers advanced in tight formations, equipped with weapons that could pierce armor with ease. Kyle knew that their usual tactics would not be enough this time. Ilara, he shouted over the noise, we need to take control of the machines. Can you do it? Ilara's eyes glowed intensely. She raised her hands, concentrating. The bond between them allowed Kale to guide her, focused to synchronize their efforts. Slowly, she reached out with her senses, feeling the energy flowing through the machines. With a pulse of her power, she disrupted their controls, causing the war machines to falter, crash, or turn on each other. The enemy soldiers were thrown into confusion, their carefully planned assault falling apart. Kyle seized the opportunity, leading a counterattack with the Varelian warriors. Together, they pushed the remaining enemy forces back, clearing the streets one block at a time. Ilara's abilities continued to evolve, her confidence growing with each victory. She could anticipate attacks before they happened, sense hidden dangers, and even guide allies with precise instructions that no one else could perceive. By evening, the city lay in ruins, but the enemy had been defeated, or at least forced to retreat. Kale and Ilara stood amidst the wreckage, exhausted but triumphant. Their bond had not only saved their lives but also changed the course of the battle. Kale looked at Ilara, pride and awe in his eyes. You did it, he said. You're stronger than I ever imagined. Alara smiled faintly, her glowing aura dimming as she allowed herself a moment of rest. We did it, she corrected. Together. But even as they celebrated their hard-won victory, Kyle knew that the war was far from over. The enemy would learn from this defeat, and they would return stronger. The human blood that had saved Alara had given them a temporary advantage, but it also marked them as targets. We've won this battle, Kale said. But not the war. We need to prepare. The enemy will come again, and next time, they'll be ready for us. Alara nodded. Then we'll be ready too. The bond, it's more than power. It's our strength, our advantage, and together we can face anything. That night, Kale and Alara stood on the highest tower of the palace ruins overlooking the city. Fires still burned in the distance, smoke curling into the sky. But there was also hope. Citizens who had survived the attack began to emerge, inspired by the courage of their princess and the human warrior who had saved her. Kale placed a hand on Alara's shoulder. This is just the beginning, he said. We've survived worse than most could imagine, but now we have a chance to change everything. Alara looked at him, her eyes glowing softly in the moonlight. And we will, she said. For Virelia, and for everyone who believes in hope. The bond between them pulsed faintly, a symbol of their shared strength and determination. Kyle knew that the human blood that had saved her life had unlocked something extraordinary. It had given them power. Yes, but more importantly, it had created a connection that could unite species, change strategies, and alter the fate of their world. As they prepared for the next wave of challenges, Kale realized one thing clearly. The real test was only beginning. The enemy would not rest, and the galaxy would soon see what humans, and their courage, ingenuity, and sacrifice, were truly capable of. The sun had barely risen over Virelia, casting long shadows over the ruins of the city. Smoke still lingered in the air, and the scent of scorched metal and dust filled the streets. But there was a sense of calm before the storm, a storm that Kale Ryder and Princess Alara knew was coming. Intelligence reports had confirmed it. The rival alien empire was mobilizing its full force. Not just soldiers, but massive war machines, advanced weapons, and elite commanders. They had learned from the previous defeats and now sought to destroy Virelia completely. Kale surveyed the horizon from the top of a ruined palace tower. His armor was scratched, his hands raw from holding his weapons for days, but his eyes were steady. Beside him, Alara stood tall, her silvery blue skin glowing faintly, a symbol of the power human blood had awakened in her. They're coming, Alara said, her voice calm yet firm. Her eyes pulsed with energy, sensing the thousands of enemies marching across the plains outside the city. And this time, it's everything they have. Every soldier, every machine. They want to wipe us out. Kyle clenched his jaw. Then we give them a fight they'll never forget. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about showing the galaxy what humans and Virelians together can do. Alara's glow intensified as she extended her senses outward. She could feel the movements of every enemy soldier, the energy, powering the war machines, the strategy in the enemy commanders' minds. Her body pulsed with strength and focus, and her bond with Kale made them a single entity in thought, action, and instinct. The Virelian army, inspired by the stories of their princess and the human warrior who had saved her, rallied behind them. Soldiers took positions. Archers readied their energy bows, and engineers prepared weapons that could disrupt the enemy machines. Kyle moved among them, offering guidance, strategy, and encouragement. The humans in the Virelian army marveled at his precision, foresight, and courage. This is it, Kale said to Alara. We fight as one, and no one, no machine, no army can stop us. Alara nodded. Together. The first wave of the enemy struck. Massive war machines rumbled across the plains, energy blasts tearing through the remnants of the city. Soldiers advanced in tight formations, confident in their numbers and firepower. But Kale and Alara were ready. Ilara's abilities had reached a new level. She could anticipate attacks before they happened, deflecting energy blasts with precision and redirecting them back at the enemy. Her strength allowed her to throw enemy soldiers across the battlefield, while her speed made her almost impossible to hit. Every move she made was guided by instinct, experience, and the human blood that had unlocked her potential. Kyle moved alongside her, covering her back and striking with lethal accuracy. Their bond allowed them to anticipate each other's actions. When Kale spotted a sniper aiming at Ilara, she dodged before he even raised the alarm. When Ilara faced multiple attackers, Kale intervened at the perfect moment to neutralize the threat. They were unstoppable, a force that no one had seen before. As the battle raged, Kale noticed something extraordinary. Ilara was not only reacting, she was adapting. Each attack, each movement of the enemy taught her something new. She evolved on the battlefield, growing faster, stronger, and smarter with every passing moment. The bond between them enhanced. This evolution, allowing Kale's human ingenuity to guide her instincts and strategies. The enemy commanders realized too late that their usual tactics were useless. Their machines faltered under Ilara's power. Their soldiers fell before they could coordinate, and their morale began to crumble. Kale saw the fear in their ranks and knew the tide had turned. "Now, Ilara," he shouted. "End this." Ilara raised her hands and a surge of energy radiated from her body, expanding outward in a shockwave that disrupted enemy formations and disabled war machines. The ground trembled as the energy spread, knocking soldiers off balance and rendering their weapons useless. Kyle led the counterattack, striking with precision and guiding their army forward. The enemy tried to regroup, but every move was anticipated. Ilara's senses, combined with Kale's strategy, made them a perfect team. They moved like shadows, striking before the enemy could react. Each wave of soldiers that approached was met with a force beyond imagination, an unrelenting combination of human cunning and Virilian power. Hours passed as the battle reached its peak. Explosions shook the city, fires spread, and the ground was littered with the remnants of defeated machines and soldiers. But Kale and Ilara pressed on, unstoppable. Citizens watched from safe distances, inspired and awestruck by the display of courage, power, and unity. Finally, the enemy leader, a massive alien general known for cruelty and strength, approached the battlefield personally. Mounted on a colossal war machine, he roared commands to his troops, confident that he could crush the human warrior and the princess. Kyle's eyes narrowed. "This ends now," he said. "Ilara, we take him down together." Ilara's glow flared brightly. "Yes, together." The final clash was fierce. The general's war machine was armed with devastating weapons, capable of destroying anything in seconds. Kyle dodged blasts, using his agility and strategy to keep them at bay. Ilara moved with unprecedented speed and strength, striking at weak points in the machine and countering attacks that should have killed her. Their bond reached its peak. Kale could sense the general's intentions before he acted. Ilara anticipated each strike, each weapon fire, and responded with overwhelming precision. Together, they dismantled the war machine piece by piece, finally bringing it crashing to the ground. The general was thrown from his mount, defeated. The remaining enemy forces, seeing their leader fall, panicked. They fled, leaving the city in ruins but free. Kyle and Ilara stood together, victorious. Their bond had not only saved their lives, but had changed the course of the war. Kale looked at Ilara, awe and pride in his eyes. "We did it. We changed everything." Ilara smiled faintly, exhausted but triumphant. "We did, and it's not just about winning. It's about showing that courage, sacrifice, and trust can overcome anything." The citizens of Virilia emerged from hiding, cheering for their princess and the human warrior who had saved them. Kale felt a warmth he had never known, a sense of accomplishment that went beyond any battle he had fought. They had not only survived, they had inspired hope, unity, and courage. That night, as the city lay quiet, Kyle and Ilara stood on a hill overlooking the ruins. Fires burned in the distance, but stars shone above, reminding them of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges yet to come. "Ilara," Kyle said softly, "the human blood, it gave you life, yes, but it also gave us something more. A bond that can change worlds." Ilara nodded, her glowing eyes reflecting the stars. "I feel it too, Kale. Together we can face anything. We've proven that humans, and Varelians, can be stronger than any empire, any weapon, any threat." Kale smiled faintly. "Then we keep fighting, not for power, not for revenge, but for life, hope, and the future." The bond between them pulsed softly, a reminder of the sacrifice, courage, and humanity that had saved not only a princess but an entire civilization. Kale knew that the human blood that had given her life had also unlocked potential beyond imagination. Together they had become more than a warrior and a princess. They had become a symbol of unity, strength, and hope. As dawn turned to day, Kale and Ilara prepared to rebuild the city, to protect their people, and to ensure that the sacrifices of the past battles were not in vain. They had survived, fought, and triumphed, proving that courage, ingenuity, and trust could overcome the most impossible odds. And as they stood side by side, looking toward the future, Kale realized one truth above all. Humanity was not limited by species, blood, or origin. Humans could inspire, lead, and change the fate of entire worlds. And when combined with courage, loyalty, and sacrifice, the results were truly beyond imagination. The galaxy had seen the rise of a warrior and a princess, one human, one Varelian, bound together by fate, blood, and trust. Their story would be remembered for generations, a legend of hope, unity, and the power of life itself.